And people were shocked, but we weren't, because it's a typical story that we see every year. And unfortunately, it's becoming more and more mainstream people that are hitting homelessness because of the economy, because of just bad luck. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who does a lot of business on Wall Street, and he was meeting with one of the guys in New York who works for the Treasury Department. And he said, Tom, he said, this other guy's name is Tom, he said, if people really knew how close that the average upper income family was to homelessness, it's 2 cataclysmic events. What does that mean? A divorce, a death. A bankruptcy, a bad business decision. Those 2 together can put an upper, not a middle income family, not a poor family, an upper income family in the United States on the street. Okay, so and these people don't want to be there. These people aren't, at the bar getting hammered, or, in alleys, doing drugs. These are people like us, going to work every day thinking that life is all rosy, but it's not. And so what we do is try to make homelessness part of what our lives are all about. Not only to give aid, which is so important, because these people desperately need the goods that are in that survival kit. As James probably told you, and you've seen on the website, we have these duffel bags that are full of 80 items, up to 70, 80 items that allow someone to survive where they stand, literally. So we put, we have ponchos that open up into tents, umbrellas. We hydrate them with all kinds of liquids. We feed them with all kinds of food, basic toiletries, basic hygienic products. Just to give you an example of how basic our hygienic products are, or how this affects them in the street. Last year, on the Giving Spirit weekend was a bad weekend for weather in Los Angeles. So it was the first time it's ever rained on the day we've done it, and it was a cold day. So I usually take a lot of the groups down to Skid Row, in the toughest part of town, and so we jump off the 405 onto the 10. Off the 10 onto the 110, and then making our way down to Skid Row. And we're pulling down the street, and we helped one gentleman, who you've seen in the video. But what you didn't see in the video is there's a woman running down the street, just uncontrollably just running. And I'm thinking something's going on here. So I jump out of my van, and I yell, "Stop!" Now, anybody here, if you see a weird guy jumping out of a van saying, "You're running the other way," and you say, "Stop," you're not stopping, right? But she stopped, and she turned around and started running back my way. So I said, okay, there's something going on. So I waited for her to get closer, and I could see that she was not well. And as she got closer to me, she was shaking like somebody had just put 1,000 volts of electricity in her. She was shaking so uncontrollably. And as she got even closer, I realized that she was in hypothermic shock. So I had a blanket in my hand, I threw it over her, and then I had one of my colleagues from the van throw me another one, and I just basically just wrapped her in blankets. And she was shaking so bad that I was shaking with her. And so I wrapped her up, I pushed her into an alcove because it started to rain. And I said, "Please stay here, stay warm, and here's the things in this kit that you really could use right now. You could drink some of this water, eat some of this food." And it broke our hearts because we had to go. One of the things we can't do is save the world. That's not what we're all about, right? It's basically trying to give aid when it's needed at a particular point in time. So we left. Okay, we go back, do our Skid Row runs. We spend about a couple of hours, doing the Skid Row thing. We come back, okay, because there's still fringes of downtown that still need to be covered. So we're going back along the road, and one of the ladies in the back seat goes, let's go see if those people need any help. So we drive over to this corner, we pull off to the side, and lo and behold, there's that woman, okay? She's sitting in a bus stop with 2 of her pals, and the window goes down, and she goes, "I told you that they were here, I told you." And they pointed at us, all of us started bawling, because she was like, she had eaten the food, drank the water, and we had basically taken her from hypothermic shock to normalcy. So, in essence, there's no doctors in this room, so I can probably get away with this. We probably saved her life. Okay, that's the extreme. Because she was this close to freezing to death. Okay, that's the extreme of what we can do. But that's the extreme that anybody can do. Heck, we just gave her some water and some food and some basic toiletries. But that on the street, when you have nothing to protect yourself from the basic stuff that we take for granted every day, it saves someone's life. And saving someone's life is not only about medicinally how you can save them, it's how spiritually you can save them. There's countless stories where we'll talk to somebody and say, "You know what? No one's talked to me in 6 months." Now, How many of you kids can go more than 10 or 15 minutes without talking to someone? I know I can't.
They can't.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you they can't.
So can you imagine going 6 months not having a conversation with another human being? So you see people talking to themselves in the streets. They got nobody else to talk to. I mean, there's a guy living over in West LA, right by the 405, within 2 miles of some of the richest people and businesses in the United States. Okay, not just in Los Angeles, okay? He was living in this tent. We got within 100 yards, not 100 yards, but 50 yards of him, and we could hear him talking. He said, oh, well, whatever, and there's probably 2 people in there. When he heard us, I said, we don't want to surprise these folks, because a lot of times they're just spooked because they're not used to being around people all the time. So we said, hey, we got some stuff for you, and he came out of the tent. He was by himself. So he walked up to us, and he said, he was having a conversation, a full-on conversation with himself. So he comes out and he says, how you doing? And he said, we gave him some, this is amazing stuff, thank you so much. And he said, but the fact that you stopped and said hello to me is the greatest gift you could ever give me. I don't remember the last time I talked to anyone. I mean, I can't talk to people anymore. Like he said, if I walked to somebody on the street and started talking to him, it'd be like me talking to an NFL linebacker and trying to how to play football. I can't do that. But you've given me the ability now to actually use language to communicate. And it turns out this guy's been homeless for 20 years. 20 years. And he said, you know what? I had some bad luck. I have a little bit of a temper. I had a couple of drinks. And, I lost it with my boss. But I had no parachute. I had no one to help me out. And then all of a sudden I was on the street. My family disowned me. And so it's sad. I mean, you guys gotta go?
Do you guys have any general questions?
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Can you brief them just briefly on the December event?
Yeah.
A lot of them have a lot of questions about that.
Sure. December 13th is when we receive over 100,000 goods that are being delivered from all over the city. We then parse it out and build an assembly line between Thursday and Saturday morning. So it happens Thursday night, Friday afternoon, all day Friday evening. 8 o'clock in the morning, the assembly line starts up, cranks out. We build all these kits that you've seen. And then they get put in the cars and vehicles and they're distributed throughout the city. What we do is we go randomly through the city. No one knows we're coming. That's part of the gift of what we do. We don't want anyone to know we're coming because it's not about us, it's about them. We want them to have to move because a lot of the stuff that they leave just for 2 seconds to turn their back is stolen, it's gone. So a lot of them are arthritic and they're cripples, they can't move. So we go find them where they live, under a rock. So that's what we do.
I have a question. So on December 13th, we get to help put them together and we can help distribute, or we just help?
December 13th, no, the 13th and 14th are all about building the assembly factory, basically.
And that's a Thursday and Friday, guys, so just so you understand that. She's asking about the Saturday day, and that's the 15th,
Saturday
right?
is when you actually build, everything gets stuck on Saturday, and then you pack and distribute.
Okay, cool.
So you arrive in the morning, there's a couple hours of assembly, there's hundreds of people all packing these bags. Bags get loaded into vans and cargo trucks. Everyone splits up into 40 different vehicles, all organized and go to different parts of LA. Spend 5 hours distributing the bags at your leisure, meeting people, having a conversation, maybe come and get back any more bags, and that's the day.
Do you need more drivers? Because I've already had certain kids talk to me about their parents driving out. And do you need more vans? Do you need SUVs, or are you okay on that?
The answer is yes, and probably. I mean,
okay, and we'll talk about that then.
So much happens within a week or two of the event that right now we need tons.
Okay.
But, in 2 weeks, but it's important that we get to know how many numbers you're talking about.
Okay, okay.
You guys want to add something, Phil, Candace?
You guys are awesome. I'm going to see you on the 15th.
Thank you, guys.